Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is an exciting day for me, so I finally received my Star Wars Retro Collection Return of the Jedi box set. So these were Hasbro Pulse and Shop Disney exclusives. Been waiting a while for this set to come out, and so I was really excited to finally get these. So it's a 6-figure set, and we'll go through each one and unbox and review today. So we have the Emperor's Royal Guard. Now, if you notice, all these card backs are unpunched. Zoom in a little bit. So they are unpunched cards, and they are the thicker card back. They've kind of been switching back and forth on what card back they've been using, how thick it is. So these are the good ones. So we got Wicket, W. Warwick, so our favorite Ewok. Really excited to get that one open. One of my favorite Star Wars characters. Being an 80s kid, the Return of the Jedi and Ewoks were totally my jam. So next up, we have Yakface. So we have him on the Return of the Jedi card back. Obviously, this is a really expensive piece if you get a vintage one. So really cool to get that one in the retro collection. Admiral Abar. Not one of my favorite figures, but I do love getting any aliens, any non-humans, so definitely not upset about this one. I think if I were making this line, I would have probably thrown in a Endor Leia before this guy, but that's okay. I like him. We have Gamoran Guard. Now this card back was a little warped, but that's all right because this is the set I'm going to open. So Gamoran Guard, really nice figure. Just big bulky alien, love him. Alright, so then we have Mon Mothma, who is of course a figure that we never received in the vintage line. So this is her first appearance. This is the third original trilogy character that we did not have a original figure of that they have produced for the retro collection. So she joins Tarkin and the Snowspeeder Luke as the other never released figures. Now I made a whole video about a line of figures that I'd like of original trilogy characters that never had a figure, so if you haven't seen that one, check it out. But yeah, so Mon is a great selection for this. Again, maybe not one of my top choices personally, but with her appearances in newer shows and all that, including Andor, it does make sense that we do get a figure of her in the retro collection. So there are our 6 figures. Slide them down a little bit. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and break these open and check them out. Alright, first up we have the Emperor's Royal Guard. So he is well wrapped in his red robe. So kind of twist around him a couple times. You can get that left arm there. There's one wrap, and then he's wrapped again. I always thought this figure was kind of funny. Just what he has on underneath. Almost looks like just kind of Robe's little rope belt there. But, honestly, doesn't really matter what's underneath. As long as that helmet looks good, which it does. He's got I do really like the robe. And then he has his staff. So, and obviously this one goes well. The only complaint I have so far with this line is that it's a box set. I would have loved to have purchased a few more of these to open to have next to the Emperor that was in the previous Return of the Jedi line. But same with the Gamoran Guards. I think those are both kind of troop builder characters. But, I bought 2 sets, one to keep closed and then one to open. I'm not going to buy a 3rd and 4th set just to get, multiples of these guys to open, but maybe they'll learn. They might at some point release these individually. Right now, I'm kind of not super confident that's going to happen, but we'll wait and see. But, overall, great figure. I like this guy. Okay. Next up, we will look at Wicket. So before I crack into this one, this is actually, out of these 6 characters, this is the only one that I have a vintage version of, and he is actually on card back. So one of my few carded figures from Return of the Jedi. So you can just see the coloring on the retro actually is a little more yellowed, which is kind of funny. You'd think the opposite. Obviously, my bubble, my blister on the original is very yellowed. So, you know, it happens. but yeah, so I think it's maybe a little crisper, but definitely a little more yellow on the artwork there. But overall, it looks pretty close to the original. The paint on the face, maybe it was a little less on the original, where you can almost see some of the whiskers a little better. Not sure how much that's picking up through all the multiple layers of acrylic, but that's all right. We'll open this guy up. All right, here's Wicket. So he does appear. Can take off his hood. We just have our little murder bear there, murder teddy bear. So I mean, looks good. This cute little figure. Snap pops right back on. So this is a little bendy. I have not ever had an open one, so I can't really compare how that is, you know, compared to the vintage one. But looks pretty good. His spear. All right. Pretty tight fit, actually, which I would prefer to a loose one. Kind of difficult getting it in his hand, but once it's in there, I think it's in there pretty securely. So looks good. His hood has a little stitching on it. Like I mentioned, the face maybe is a little softer on the mold than the original. Not quite the whiskering detail, but overall pretty close. The one thing I always think is interesting is the eyes, just how dark they are, and you know, there's really not like a pupil or anything, but that's what the original looked like. This one matches that pretty well. But yeah, he looks good. So I like him. I would love to get maybe some 2-packs of more Ewoks, or Leia with a couple Ewoks. I think Wicket would be a great choice to pack along with Leia, but you know, I also want to get some of the other Ewoks in there as well. So we'll see what they do. You know, so far we're at about 12 or 13 figures from each of the original movies. So we'll see where they go from here. But all right, next up we got Yakface. All right, here is Yakface out of package. So I mean, this one is such a interesting looking character. Obviously, so hard to find for a reasonable price in the vintage, you know, form. But this one looks great. I have not ever had, obviously, an original one, so this is the first time I'm really kind of getting my hands on this character. But he comes with whatever sort of axe or weapon that is. But overall, just fun. You know, I know that this figure is probably going to fill in a lot of people's vintage collections of Star Wars characters, just to be a money saver or a placeholder until people can save up and get one of the originals, which frankly is why I love this retro collection. Can fill in gaps, you know, be an upgrade in just how a figure looks on a shelf. So really fun figure, and we'll see. I mean, I would love for them. They have done a couple of the vintage collection figures on card backs with the coins that have released recently, you know, within the last year or so. It'll be interesting to see if they do that with the retro collection, if we get some of those Power of the Force card backs with some of the coins and things like that. So I would love to get some of those characters. I mean, or they could go back and just put them on their original movie card backs like they did with him. But you know, I'm just thinking a Stormtrooper, Luke, or something like that would be great to get on the Power of the Force card back. But so yeah, a great addition, and I'm gonna love having him in my collection. So next up we have Admiral Abar. Let's get him standing up. There we go. All right, here is Admiral Abar. You know, pretty plain costume on him, kind of just like a jumpsuit. Almost has some nice sailor looking slacks on. But, you know, his face, any of the aliens, I love getting the different details of the head sculpts. He just looks good. Any of the Mon Calamari, I'm a fan of. Now, he does come with his little baton, which somebody write in the comments. I don't remember. Is this a Kenner creation, or does he actually hold something like this in the films? I want to say it's just a Kenner creation, just to get each character a little accessory, but I could be wrong. So if you know, let me know in the comments. But yeah, his little baton, not really sure what he does with that, but a good looking figure. So has a couple little interesting pockets on the sides here. So yeah, nice addition, getting some of the rebel officers in the line. There we go. All right, next up, Gamoran Guard. All right, here is the Gamoran Guard. This is a dense figure. I do love this guy. So, you know, again, I'm going to complain just about my wishes for this to be an army builder, single carded release. Hasbro, if you're listening, please release some of these on a single card back that we can order. Now, one very positive, I will say, across the board with this wave is, I know some of the previous waves, they've had really loose grips on their weapons. This whole wave so far has been really tight grip. These things aren't going anywhere. Some of them have struggled to get into their hands, but again, a good problem to have, because they are not going to fall out on your shelf, which I know that initial A New Hope wave kind of had some frustrations with, and especially the the Empire Strikes Back wave. So yeah, overall this guy's great. You know, it's funny, just with my age, again, I had very limited access to the Star Wars figures when I was a kid, but as I got a little older, I was into the Robin Hood figures, and so this guy always reminds me of how they reused this this mold, at least the body, for Friar Tuck. So it's funny. I mean, that it just is, the legs, the body, I believe, are pretty much the exact same. So just as a fun throwback and a fun memory for me. But yeah, gotta love the Gamoran Guards. Wish I could get a few more. I wouldn't mind a skinny Gamoran Guard from The Mandalorian too. That would be a nice little variant of this. But great looking figure with the silver paint, real bulky, just awesome. Love all the aliens we're getting. Okay, last but not least, we will get the new sculpt, Mon Mothma. Okay, here is Mon. Now she does come with, I believe this is the Princess Leia blaster. Real thin, real long. Let's see. Yeah, so again, really nice grip. Tight hold on that. So she has her white robes on, the short red hair. So I know Mon Mothma in the newer shows got a little bit longer of a hairdo going on, but at least for this time period, we're keeping it short. So I am a fan of this figure, maybe not my favorite, but I do love that it is a new character that we've never seen before. So I do want just Hasbro to keep this sort of figure coming. There's any number of characters from the original trilogy that we have not seen yet. Bring them on. You know, I think there's a market for them. A lot of people are not necessarily going after the new content figures. I personally love the Mandalorian ones, but I get why people really just want to stick to the originals. And I think this is a great way to get some new figures, you know, new collectors, getting these figures to add to their vintage shelves. So great six-pack here. So, you know, like I said, now we have 12 characters from Return of the Jedi. And I want them to keep going, really, with all of these. I think the original trilogy characters, we have 8 figures left from the A New Hope wave that they could create. Most of those are the Cantina aliens and a couple droids. X-Wing pilot Luke to kind of round that out. But I think that all of those would sell, you know, maybe if they throw it in a box set, or maybe make a retro collection cantina play set and have the aliens come with it. I think that that sort of stuff is what the collectors want. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. You know, I definitely would love to see stuff like that. And, you know, and then from Empire Strikes Back, there's a lot of characters from Hoth that we have not seen yet. They've done a great job with kind of the bounty hunters and Bespin looks. But there's quite a few Hoth figures that we haven't seen yet, that I'd like to get into the line. And then, of course, you know, obviously Return of the Jedi, there's any number of figures we're missing. So let me know what characters you really want to see. You know, maybe if we make some noise as a group of collectors, Hasbro will listen and just continue to give us what we want. So as always, thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it, if you made it this far. You know, I do really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for watching. May the Force be with you.